Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Speech Collective podcast. My name is David Rosen. Today, we are getting into our third episode of sharing real stories of how people who grew up with speech impediments and found their voice inspire others and break the stigma. As a graduate of the Dr. Fluency program, your experience could offer hope to someone who's just starting their journey. Okay, so everyone's going to go around and introduce themselves.
Hi, Ariel. I'm a student at Columbia, a comp sci major and a music producer. And I've started Dr. Fluency 1.5 years ago. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Yehuda Halpern. I'm a business major at Landers College, and I'm 22 years old, and I've been in the Dr. Fluency program for 1.5 years.
Hi, my name is Grayson Rosenberg, and I go to the Wynwood School, and I've been in this program for now 6 months.
Hello, everyone. I am Jack. I am 21 years old. I am a senior finance major at Hofstra University, and I've been a part of this program for 6 months.
Hi, my name is Alexandra Monoya. I am 18 years old. I am a biology major aspiring to go to medical school at Hofstra University, and I have been in the program for 4 months.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. It means a lot. So first question, how was it like growing up with a disfluency? How did it affect your confidence, friendships, or school experience?
So for me, I think because I didn't have a severe speech impediment, it didn't affect me like in a remarkable way. I think, it was like commented on sometimes or like laughed at like a bit, but nothing extraordinary.
Yeah, it was a similar thing for me. Sometimes my stutter would get bad if I was feeling very anxious, like if a teacher or something put me on the spot. But I think I enjoyed my stutter in those moments a bit because I got to. I think I definitely exaggerated my stutter a lot, so that the teacher would get fed up with me and choose someone else to answer a question.
That you didn't know the answer to.
Yeah, that I didn't know the answer to.
And it didn't really affect me because I always had friends who had my back just in case someone used to tease me. So it didn't really affect me a lot. But the same thing, if a teacher called on me and I didn't really know the answer, I would exaggerate on my stutter and wait until the teacher just gave up on me.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it now is a completely different thing. Now, I've accepted it. It is what it is. But it wasn't always easy. I don't think it was necessarily as much of a problem as it was in my head. Yeah.
Well, I always knew that the only issue or the real issue I had was that I couldn't say exactly what I wanted to say, even if I knew exactly what I wanted to say. I knew I was okay all around. I didn't have any health problems, no issues. It's just I knew that I couldn't say what I wanted to say when I wanted to say it. And sometimes it annoys the hell out of me because you know what you want to say, and you just cannot say it. So I just knew it was an issue that I still and would have to fix if I want to start getting annoyed by the fact that I can say what I want to say.
For me, there were times that it was really bad. For example, when I broke my foot at the end of my 9th grade year, I was stressed, and it gets much worse with stress. But the majority of times I knew how to deal with it, but the times with stress, it was the worst. So next question. before Dr. Fluency, what were programs or ways that you explored to improve your speech impediment?
So, first speech therapist I've been to a total number of 2 or 3 before Dr. Fluency, depends how you count it. The first one I was like 14. I've also had a lisp, and like she did manage to like treat that sort of, and it went away. So at least that. But the stutter didn't really get better. It was a classic case of like it got better only when I'm talking to her or when I'm practicing alone. But obviously when we're alone, we don't stutter. For anyone that didn't know, like psychologically, probably. And then the second one was not too long ago. It was like 2 or 3 years ago. Before her, I went to like one session with another speech therapist that right on the like first meeting was like very rude and like sort of not like teased me, but was like mean and was like, well, yeah, it's good that you're like coming to treat that because I bet you don't have a lot of friends because of that. And all these wild stuff. And I was like, no, I actually have friends, but yeah, and obviously I didn't continue with her. And I think that like when people think speech therapists, they don't think like they can sort of make you feel worse too. Not only like not treating it, but also making you feel worse. And after that, I went to the last one before Dr. Fluency that was very nice, but it didn't really help me. She sort of helped me to like accept it kind of, but that was not what I was looking for. And then I came to Dr. Fluency.
Yeah, I had 2 speech therapists I tried in the past, and I had a mostly similar experience. In the latter case, I wasn't told that I probably didn't have any friends, fortunately. But I don't remember when I went to both programs, since neither of them really helped me at all, since they were used to dealing with people with a much worse stutter. So they basically just told me, I don't know, you sound fine to me. And I think I enjoyed it because I liked having a captive audience to talk about video games with, but yeah, it didn't really matter.
I had one speech therapist, and she didn't really help that much because it was on Zoom, and like it kept like aching up a lot, so like she couldn't really understand me. So I stuck it through for a long time though, but then it got like really bad, so like we stopped and I went to Dr. Fluency.
Okay, so I've probably had more than one speech therapist, but I honestly only remember one of them. If I had another one, it was when I was much younger. But there was one specifically that I remember. Very nice lady. And then after that, I tried hypnosis, which was interesting. You know,
Sounds interesting.
yeah, so the specific person, like, he specifically worked hypnosis for speech impediments. Like, it wasn't like
How did it work?
everything. It was just for speech impediments. Like, that was like his like thing. And I guess he's not good at his thing.
Okay, I had a speech therapist that she was like, she didn't know how to speak. Like, she had like a much worse speech issue than I did. So it was hard because my aim was to make me be able to express anything I wanted to without having to, not able to speak right. And I enter her office and she can't say her name. and I sat in the chair. It was horrible.
Blind
But-
leading the blind.
and it was expensive, like almost $1,000 for like a day with her. Jesus, yeah. And she didn't know how to like. She just like puts A-E-I-O-U on the board and says it slowly and still can't say it. It was horrible. That was like during in high school, and since then I didn't go to any speech therapist. I just stayed with the speech problem.
So for me, I think I had 3 speech therapists in my life. They tried many different techniques, like, for example, robot speech. They make you speak like a robot. They make you look at yourself in the mirror for some reason, but nothing worked. And they also made it feel like your speech problem would never go away and you'd always be stuck in their office. And I just felt that very discouraging. And there was a moment where I felt like, I don't think this is going to work anymore, and I think we have to consider other options. So next question is, how has having a speech impediment impacted your professional career, if at all?
I don't think it impacted it that much. I think, so I'm Israeli, so I served, and I think tapping into what was said, that like when I was like more stressed, it like gotten worse. So when I was like talking to like very important people, it sort of got worse. But I don't think it like impacted me in a like devastating way where I didn't get the job that I wanted or something. It definitely added stress to job interviews and that kind of stuff because, you know, I wanted it to go smoothly. But I don't think for me that it had like a very significant impact.
Yeah. For me, it also wasn't really something that affected me in most casual situations, but on job interviews where I was feeling very nervous, that's definitely when I would have a lot of trouble speaking, and I choke on my words a lot. And I think there were definitely at least a few interviews that I failed because of my disfluency.
Oh, and by the way, I think that like it's important to say that like you don't always know when you like missed a chance because of it.
Yeah.
And like I think that's hard because you don't know if the fact that you started more or less in this interview or that like sort of took away that opportunity or that you were just not like fit. But
I guess there's one specific place that I feel like my disfluency was the deciding factor, because when I applied to the place later and was interviewed again, my fluency was a lot better by then because I was already well underway in Dr. Fluency, and things went a lot better with that one. So comparing the two experiences, the only thing that really changed was in the first one, my fluency was really, really bad.
And like when I like see like someone that I like looked up to a lot in my life, and like he's like actually there, it's like I want to say hi to him, but then I just stop myself. It's like I'm scared that I'm gonna stutter, and then he's gonna think I'm weird for that. But like each time like I see him, I'll go up to him and talk to him, and it just like makes me feel a lot better.
It's awesome. Okay, so with interviews, so what I would say honestly is that I have a lot of anxiety about my speech, and I would be in more interviews and I would network a lot more if I wasn't so nervous. So in that sense, it has affected me. Luckily, my last interview went very well, and I'll be working at a law firm. I start
Congratulations.
tomorrow.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Nice.
thank you. So it's just a little internship. It's like an operational because I don't plan on working in law. But it took a while to get there and worked very hard. So, but again, with the networking, and I would have done a lot more for myself if I wasn't as nervous about it. And honestly, I'm not really that nervous to speak. It's more I hate when I mess up, right? So I would just put myself in a situation where I'm not going to mess up.
Well, I would say like in high school, it wasn't as like I was able to speak to whoever like I always am like with. But if I was to speak with those like in higher areas like of my high school, it was gonna be harder. But I was still able to speak to them. Then going to Hofstra made it, well, it was not easy at first though, because I didn't know any human being at Hofstra. But it was easier as I was going on, and I met new people that knew that I had the issue and they didn't see it as an issue to me at all. And on Wednesday, I decided to do an interview and I didn't mess up at all. And I was so happy that day. And
Yeah, nice.
she was so happy too with the interview, and she gave me the thing right there and there. Like she
Whoa,
just
yeah.
said that you have the job. That's it. So it made me really happy that day.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, to be honest.
And for me, face-to-face people with like 1, 2, or 3 people were not really challenging. But for me, the challenging part was reading in front of the class and presenting in front of the class, because I often blocked, and I had moments where I blocked heavily and I was really helpless. I was looking around, I was like, what do I do? And the teacher just moved on to another person, and
That hurts though.
that hurt. That hurt.
I'll
Yeah.
add to that. So I excused myself from presenting when I was younger. I had a 504 plan. Not really sure what that all inclines, but that's just on Long Island, at least probably New York. That's just what they call it. And because of that, I didn't have to present ever, which was probably not good. I wish I presented, because
Yeah.
you have to be able to speak. You have to be able to speak in front of people. So this past semester, I took a public speaking class that I had to take. I needed one requirement, whatever, for a public speaking class, and I kept putting it off. I was like, yeah, no, there's no way. I was like, how are we supposed to do this? I was like, this isn't fair. It's like asking like someone who's like actually injured to like run in a race. Like, it's how it felt to me, right? So, but I took the public speaking class and it went very well. And I'm in my school's investment fund as well. So we have to talk about things that we would want to invest in, like equities, and in front of the entire fund. And, a lot of anxiety, but you make it through. And you just have to just keep practicing talking in front of people. And yeah.
Strangely enough, with presenting like a reporter, PowerPoint and whatnot, I never really had much of a problem with doing that, with blocking and whatnot. It's more, I guess, feeling like I had a script in front of me, just let me talk normally. But as I mentioned earlier, with a teacher calling on me out of the blue, that's where I really struggled.
Yeah, I think part of the presenting thing is me naturally, at least. I don't know about you guys. I'm not the loudest person. This is like my normal tone. So presenting when people are like, speak up, and I'm like, it's just not normal
That
for
sounds
me.
really rough.
So
For me, it was actually the opposite. I'm like more of Yoda, where it's like sort of having to shout sort of like forces me to like keep targets, I guess. But like I didn't know it back then, but like now I sort of realize. But I think that like it goes to show like everyone's speech impediment is different as a hell, and like the syllables and the situations they get stuck in, it's just so different for each one.
Just 2 weeks ago, I had a presentation that I gave it in front of my class. It was like a 5 to 10 minute presentation, and I completed it successfully. And I thought to myself, I think just 2 years ago, I would not have been able to do this. And I've really come a long way. I was thinking to myself as I was doing it, I've come a long way. Just 2 years ago, I would probably have asked a teacher for an exemption on this. Okay, so the next question is, what were the most helpful parts of the Dr. Fluency program for you?
For me, it was definitely focusing on not only improving with your speech therapist, but like going outside, making phone calls, practicing like your sort of new speech with other people and putting yourself in those situations. And if you have a situation where you get stuck, then like recreate it and like try to implement and do it even with the therapist in the room. And I think just like generally, I think it's the world where like speech therapists are usually not helpful, if not like the story I told hurt. And I think Dr. Fluency are the only ones that are making steps in the right direction, like implementing technology too. So yeah, they're definitely the right direction in that word.
The most helpful thing about Dr. Fluency to me was just the fact that every day we had very specific homework we had to do, that we had to do at least 20 minutes of practice on a very specific area every single night, that other speech therapy programs, they basically just tell you, okay, maybe do some breathing exercises, I guess, if you have the time in the week. But with Dr. Fluency, it's very structured. It's very clear what you have to improve on and how to do it.
Yeah, the one thing I really like about Dr. Fluency is that, like, at the end of it, it tells you what exactly you did right and exactly what you did wrong. And I think that's good because when you, like, talking to an actual person, like, they really don't know, like, what you did right and what you did wrong. But, like, with the technology we have now, we can really see, like, what we can do.
Yeah, I like how there are ordinal lessons. You know, you work your way up. And I like, too, that you have to practice every day because what it really comes down to is repetition.
What I like about it is that, so I was having to be doing the things I have to do with the iPad, and I was in my head that I didn't, like, I spoke so in my head though, then the iPad was like, I spoke horribly, and in my head I was having the idea that I had the most amazing speech that I had ever had in my life, and I pressed, that I did an amazing job, and he says I did horrible and everything was X, and I was like, damn. And I had to redo the whole thing over, and he said it was wrong the second time, and I did the whole thing again, and he said it was wrong the third time. I was about to break this iPad square dances, and I was like, okay, I had to do it slowly, and I had to do the onsets because I was not doing that. I was just going A, E, and after I understood what it expected me to do, I found out that it was gonna give me the high grade, because after doing an amazing speech for like half an hour, I got an X. I was mad, right? Yeah, so.
Could be very frustrating at times.
Yeah. And I think compared to other speech therapy programs, when you practice, you don't know if you're doing it right or not.
Wrong, yeah.
and
Yes.
most people do it wrong, like statistically.
And they tell you that you did it right.
Yeah, and like Dr. Fluency, like the iPad that they give you tells you, like it
Very-
calls you on your bullshit like every time. So
And also for regular speech therapists, you show up to their office one time per week, maybe 45 minutes to an hour, and then they often leave you to dry and do nothing for the rest of the week. And the good thing about Dr. Fluency is that they have you maintain it 20 minutes a day. I think that is a really important part of this course, and I think that is the reason why that we are all here speaking on a podcast that we probably didn't think that we would be doing a few years ago.
Another thing that I also really liked, I feel that some other speech therapists, like, they'll be like, wow, like, you're doing great.
you're
Even if you're not,
nonsense.
even if you're
Yes.
not, and even if I think I'm doing good, I'll come in and David will be like, dude, what are you doing? I don't hear any of your stretch, and, they'll really call you out here at Dr. Fluency, but that's a good thing. You need that, so thank you, David.
The next question is, how did you find Dr. Fluency, which is the course that we've been doing to save our speech, basically? And what did you first think about it when you heard it?
So I heard about it from a Facebook group, actually, an Israeli one. And it wasn't from like one, I think it was like one person. And then I was like, oh, he's like probably trying to sell something, or I don't know. But then I've heard it in that same group from a different person, which they were both in Fluency. But then I was like, if two people are talking about it and like how crazy it helped them, then maybe there's something there. So then I talked to one of them, like got on the phone with him, and he actually said, like, I've been to speech therapists and stuff and it didn't work, but Dr. Fluency did, worked the most. And it was like very relatable to me. So I decided to give it a go, and now I'm here.
For me, my mother told me about it, how she heard from friends, I guess, that their kids, I guess, were getting good results from it, and she wanted me to try it, and I went along with it, even though I kind of felt like it probably won't work. It's probably just going to be a waste of time, but I guess I'll give it a try. And there was this preliminary meeting with them, and as I spoke with them, so my mother, she became a bit worried if this was legit or not, but I became more confident that, oh, this actually seems like it might work, since they were actually explaining what their step-by-step plan was for improving our fluency, and they also had like on top of all that, this whole money-back guarantee if our speech wasn't improved. And at that point, I realized, hey, if this doesn't work and my speech is exactly the same, then the only thing I'm going to lose out on is time. And I'm going to waste that time anyway, so I might as well.
So I found it out by like my mom was like on Facebook and she saw like Dr. Fluency, and then she like talked to my dad, and then we like set up this meeting, and I think it was like legit. So then we tried it out, and it like helped a lot, and we just like kept doing it. And then my mom like went on Facebook and like texted a lot of other families that like it really works. And then yeah, that's really it.
Yeah, so my family found it for me. They were looking through, I guess, Safari, whatever, just, anything they could find. And we found this program, and we were a little hesitant too. I mean, you know, there is proof that it works. There are many people speaking in Hebrew that were able to complete this course, but the thing is that I don't speak Hebrew or understand it. So the thing is that it didn't, even though it was proof, it wasn't really proof to me because I have no clue what they're even saying, respectfully. So.
Okay, so I found it from my aunt. I don't know how she knew about this, but she was like, she knows it will help me. And I was hesitant. I was like, I already have the problem. I'm just going to stick with it. And my dad and my mom would not, they were on my head that I should go online, find whoever, make a phone call. And I said, one day I was going to try. And it helped me. And they are so happy and I'm happy that they did, because I I was already like, I have the issue. We're going to stay like that. But
Yeah. Same here.
I'm happy that I actually decided to. And then I was here and they actually made me to know what the issue was and made me understand what the problem is, because I didn't even know what the issue was. I just knew I didn't know how to speak like everybody else. And yeah, we're here.
So I found out about it in 2023 when my uncle told my dad about this course. And then my dad told me about this course. He gave me a little document about the success rate, that it was an 100% success rate out of 2,500 people. And I was just thinking to myself, this is more of the same. This is another attempt basically to save my speech that won't work. And this was a moment where I was in a really dark time. This summer, I could not even say my name. And I came to Cedarhurst to basically have a consultation with David Harris, the owner of this company. And it turned out to save my speech, like where I am now. So building off of that, do you guys think that there was a moment where you noticed that you were really improving during this course?
I think it definitely took a while, because I don't know if you explained it in a previous episode, but there's this sort of training that you go through for, I think 3 months. I think it's different for everyone.
Yes.
But for me, it was I think 2 or 3 months. David will probably correct me. So only I think after 3 or 4 months, even 5, I want to say, I noticed an improvement. It's actually hard to recall because it was a whole year ago. But it definitely takes a while. And I think the hardest part is actually implementing all of the stuff that you learn with people and in those stressful situations. And I think that's why most speech therapists doesn't work, because you just end up talking fine with them, but then go outside and not talk good. Is that Dr. Fluency helps you simulate, and it's very, you go outside, you practice, you really have to go out of your comfort zone.
Correct. So. It takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
I think it took me 8 hours a day to complete it, because I tried to complete it as fast as I could before the start of my sophomore year of high school. And it took a lot of effort going up to random people on the street, asking how their day was, where the nearest McDonald's was. It took me out of my comfort zone in a way that I was never pushed by any other speech therapist.
For me, the moment I realized that, whoa, I actually have improved a lot, was when, as I mentioned before, 6 or so months into the course, I started going through interviews for trying to get a summer internship again. And I was feeling very discouraged because things were very hard the previous year. I felt like I was doing horribly on all of my interviews. And then I realized at that year, hey, I'm actually speaking pretty well. Huh. I guess this is working.
I think when I realized it was actually working was when it was like in my school when like the teacher just called on me and I was reading the book. But like normally I like block a lot when I'm like reading in front of my class. But then for like the first time in like a year, I like didn't block at all in front of my class, and I just got shocked. And then I just raised my hand and then it just went away.
Okay, so I don't know if there's a specific moment, but one that I just recall is in the Cedarhurst office, actually. After one of my appointments, I ended up speaking about investments for about an hour with Ellie, and I don't think my speech was a problem for me at all, and that was pretty cool.
For me, I think it was at home, and it was me, my mom, and it was me and her, and I was speaking for like half an hour about different things that happened that day. Cause that day I don't know what happened with here, but a lot of things were happening to me in my school. The car, people on the road, an accident behind me, a cat died in front of me. A lot of stuff happened that day. But like I was at home and trying to explain like everything that happened to her that day, and she was like, "You're amazing." I'm like, "Amazing for what?" And I found out later that I didn't have an issue with my speech, so that's when I knew that, because I could never speak for half an hour without at least having an issue. So I just knew that at least doing this was going to help me, and eventually I was going to overcome the speech impediment.
For me, it was the first day of school in my 10th grade year, my sophomore year of high school. I showed up to my English class, which was the first period, and my teacher was asking about the summer reading book, and I decided to raise my hand, and I just spoke freely, and that entire class, I raised my hand constantly, and I think my teacher had enough of me. But it felt so good to know that I'm in a whole different place than I was just 2 months ago when I couldn't say my name and I couldn't order a simple thing from a menu in a restaurant. And that was a big turning point in my life. So next question, how has overcoming your speech challenges shaped who you are today?
Pretty big question to ask, but it's like how it shaped. I think that, I don't know, it sounds too dramatic for me, but I think that it's just nice to know that like previously I was sort of dependent on the grace of like, what day did I wake up and like, is it a better day for my speech and is it a worse day? Am I more anxious or less? And I think it definitely gave me tools to like prepare myself better for those situations. And even when I'm in them and like regularly in my day-to-day speech, and like you said, like sometimes even making a simple order was like tough back then, and like it definitely gotten a lot better. I think that, you know, I do sometimes get stuck and it's like not really something you can cure.
Yeah.
Like it's not that it goes away. I think David gave a really nice analogy with glasses, I think. I actually forgot. But in any case, yeah, I think it definitely improves your life quality.
For me, I think the biggest way it's helped me is that now when I'm in very high, well, what I consider a high stakes situation, like where I have to talk to a superior or talk to a teacher, even if I'm feeling terrified on the inside, I'm now able to at least present myself as being composed and not feeling terrified.
I think that, like, before I started Talk to Fluency, I was, like, scared before I talked to, like, every person. But, like, now that, like, I've been doing this for, like, a while and I've been talking to a lot of people, it made me, like, less scared. And now I can just, like, walk up to people and, like, talk to them without, like, thinking to myself, I can't do it.
Yeah, so I still have a lot of anxiety, to be honest, when speaking. My speech got pretty darn good about a few months back, and this semester was just so crazy for me that I had to put everything down for a bit, except for school. Like, I literally only did school every second of every day, which was an experience, but I wasn't able to practice as much. And, it's just the constant practice is what really helps. So now that I'm off, even though I'll be working full time starting tomorrow, I'll have much more time on my hands actually than when I was in school. So I'll be practicing a lot, and when you practice and work hard, it does work. So, yeah.
It made me to know that even when I was having this issue with speaking and I didn't see to find if there was anything that I could do to help the speech, it made me understand that if you look for an answer, you're going to get an answer. The reason people don't try to look for answers because they believe that there is no answer to the problems that they have. So if you look for one, I believe you're going to find an answer. It might not be an easy answer. It might be a hard answer, but it's an answer. So, yeah.
I think for me, it made me more hardworking. I'd say it made me more resilient and confident in myself, because I say to myself, if I could be this that everyone says you'll have to live with for the rest of your life, I could be anything. And in terms of the hardworking, I spent 8 hours, 9 hours for 3 straight weeks, just nonstop doing the practices, doing all the lessons that were required to complete the course. And I think that really built me well for my sophomore year of high school and my junior year of high school. I think it helped me be hungry and be driven for more.
So you mentioned that you completed it in 3 weeks. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I worked really hard on that.
Earlier on, my experience, I can't speak for all of you, but at least with me, I'd get very frustrated when I wasn't able to speak. So practicing, I told myself I'd practice a lot, but I was getting visibly angry while practicing, if I couldn't do it for a little bit.
Yeah.
I'd start yelling at the damn iPad, I'm sorry. But
I might have punched it once.
yeah, I've never done that, but
I probably overshared there.
no, but honestly, it is frustrating,
Yeah.
But
When it tells you to redo,
oh yeah,
I
yeah.
switch
to redo a
off.
lesson,
I'm going
oh
to
my
bed.
goodness.
Especially if you're less than half a second off, maybe yeah.
When it gives
It's
you that
just,
X, bro.
it needs to be how it has to be for this
Correct.
program, and but it gets easier. I don't get angry at it anymore. Maybe sometimes, but no, I really don't. It's good.
I feel it made me happier. Basically, I was always happy, but the issue with the speech, made me hate when I know exactly what I want to say or I have an answer that defeats everybody's answer around me. but my mouth or my, I don't know what is going on, can produce that answer. And being here and able to speak more than I used to, well, I would say it helped me to know that the things that I believed that I could not do anything, like I could not help at all, that I could always help. And now the issue that I thought that I would have forever, I shouldn't have it forever, basically.
So what's one piece of advice that you would give to a young person who is struggling with a speech impediment? It could be a young person, it could be an adult, it could be an older person, but just a person who's struggling and has not found a solution yet. What's one piece of advice that you would give?
On one hand, I want to say try to go to speech therapist because it only gets worse. But I also remember me as a kid, like that I went to a speech therapist and it didn't get good. So I guess definitely try Dr. Fluency, I guess.
The Dr. Fluency program.
Yeah. Not related to this podcast at all.
Not sponsored either.
Yeah, I think that's it.
So my advice would be to a young person who felt similarly to me that, who cares? It doesn't matter if I sometimes struggle to speak. I'll just deal with it. You should care.
Yeah.
And you should want to be able to talk to people without stuttering. That it's incredibly important. You're going to be talking to people throughout your life, barring any very unfortunate accident. You'll be talking to people probably for longer than you'll be able to walk by yourself. So you should want to be able to do it well.
I would say it's like kind of like a rash. Like if you don't like chew it, it will like keep spreading. Because like when you like keep talking and you don't like try to fix it, it will just like keep getting worse when you grow up.
I like that. Thank you for that. I would say just relax. Everything will be okay. You need the Dr. Fluency program.
Not sponsored.
But after you do join, you have to have hope, because I feel that without hope, there's nowhere, you're stuck, you're stuck. So you need hope, just relax.
For me, I would advise you to know that you are not you are as high as everyone else that you see that you are. Because I feel as growing up, some haters in this world will make you believe that you are not as high or able to do the things they do because you can speak or express yourself the way you want to. So you shouldn't believe that. You're okay. You don't have an issue. You don't have a disease. It's not it's you just don't know how to express the way you want to be, or you don't know how to express the things you want to the way you want to express them. And I will also advise you that you should know that it is an issue. It is not gonna go away till you find an answer for it to go away. Because I wanted to ignore the fact that I had this issue, and I knew in my heart that it's not gonna go until I fixed the problem. And I think those people, no matter how old you are, that you should know that you're not you are like everyone else, right? You are smart. You should not be able to make yourself feel small because people around you, as evil people are in this earth, make you feel smaller than you think you actually are. So if you decide that you want to be able to show those people that you are as high as them, you'll have to look for an answer, and you're gonna find it. This is an answer. Yeah.
I would just like to add something. For people from smaller areas like me, you're not alone. I think I was the only one in my town,
So you were alone.
at least my grade. I'm not really sure the town, but at least my grade that had a speech issue, and I was alone. I thought that I was just like, I didn't think that many people actually had speech issues. So I felt very alone in that sense. But, as I got older, I know other people at Hofstra that have speech issues, and, you are not alone.
I think it's
And,
like a
yeah.
10%, right, from the population.
I think it's 1 in 10. Yeah, 1 in 10 people. It's like 1 in 12, but very close to 1 in 10 people struggle with some type of speech disorder in their lives.
Oh, 10% of the population?
That's a lot.
It's like 1 in 12, 1 in 10, something like that. Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
I ran the
We're 8
CDC.
billion. Damn.
I ran the CDC that 7.7% of the United States population struggles with some type of speech disorder. It's not only a stutter, but it could also be many different things. So my piece of advice for someone who is struggling with a speech impediment or really anything that is disturbing you in your life is don't let people put you down, and don't let people define who you are, because you are special in some type of way, and don't let people take that away from you. So I think that's my biggest and most powerful advice that I could give.
And I want to add something that I think it's like something Dr. Fluency did that really helped me right in the first meeting, sort of, is that I don't know if they did that for you, but like explain to you like what is like speech disfluency, and it's like a neurological problem and a psychological one, but it's like basically your brain just like randomly sends like electric sort of signals to like shut down your vocal cords. So I feel like knowing that sort of helped me in the sense that it's like, first of all, you know what's going on, and second of all, you know that it is like sort of, it's not something you like developed or like, caused from trauma. And I kind of tripped on that like at first. So.
I was told
Yeah.
that as well.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we should close with this. If you could go back in time and give advice to your younger self, what would you say?
I think I'm gonna like keep the same answer as I said, that it's like building off Grayson's rash analogy, that yeah, it does get worse. It can definitely be improved. It will probably like, there's no really a cure for it, but there are good things available and like good treatments, and you can definitely improve it by like tens of percents. And yeah.
I guess what I would tell myself is being able to talk well matters. Try to improve, dum-dum.
I think I would tell myself to like start this like program like earlier, so like I could like be able to talk better when I was even younger, so I can have like so I can talk better when I get older and older. Because if you start late, then it'll take more time to like actually do it all.
I would tell myself, just have faith, really, because, you guys weren't here until, I'm not sure how long ago, but probably not when we were younger. So I'm,
No, I think Dr. Fluency like exists for like 20 years.
on Long Island.
Oh, no. Oh, in the US. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
so I'm from here.
So learn Hebrew.
Yeah, exactly. But just have hope, things will work out?
I would say that it is okay. Like you are as high as everyone else, because in high school, there are human beings that I wish I never like. There are human beings that made me feel like I was not meant to be in high school, or because even if I wasn't able to say what I wanted to say, I was smart. I could read a book and get an amazing score, right? It's to read a book and have an exam. And there are some people that will hate you for the reason that they can get a high score and make you feel horrible because you can't speak as fluent as them. So I would advise her earlier in life, like even before high school, that it is okay. That in the world, like I always had this thing in my head that there's human beings in this world that are horrible. No, not like every human being that you're gonna meet is like a happy person or is an angel. There are people that are assholes and they would make you feel horrible about yourself. And it is okay. Like move on with life. Like after high school, I probably would never see you again, right? So I would tell her that it is okay, and your issue is not like it is not as hard to find the answer you are looking for if you actually looked for an answer, because I did not do that earlier, and I wish I did that way earlier before high school. So like the horrible things I saw or I heard from people wouldn't have stayed in the head I had at a small age. But yeah, that's what I would advise her.
So if I were telling my younger self something, I'd say that don't worry, everything will eventually fall to place, and just, yeah, that's it. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for watching and listening to the Speech Collective podcast. We hope you found some type of motivation from this, and we hope to see you guys soon. Thank you. Like and subscribe.
Thank you.